Hey, what's up, everybody? Mr. Hollywood here, back once again with another Arcade1Up video, part 2 of the comparison here between the Arcade1Up machines and the Mame cabinet here. If you guys missed part 1, make sure you check out the link on here. I'll be a little bit more detailed here, as also answering some of the questions or comments you guys might have left in the previous video. So let's start things off here about the difference here. A couple key components here that I see why I've purchased the Arcade1Up cabinets here as opposed to this main cabinet here. So here's my opinions. Like I said, these are just my knowledge here of these machines and my experience here of owning both the main cabinet here and these Arcade1Ups, and how I feel about them, and why I went with the purchase of these Arcade1Up, and why I feel that these things are so great here. Here's my opinions. Alright, first thing I want to mention here is about the screens here. The monitors used in the Arcade1Up here, you got the 17-inch LCD screens. And these things are great as far as graphics, as far as the picture these things produce. It's just tremendous. It's the perfect size, especially when you're up close here, sitting down or standing up right next to the machine. I mean, you don't need a whole big screen on here. The great things here is, like, let's take a look here at the Galaga machine here. It uses the vertical screen, you know, how it's meant to be played, not the horizontal screen here like this Asteroids one. So that's where that's great. Also, as you could see, there's bezels all around here, so you're not going to have this black border or anything on here. And it's the size and the format that these games are meant to run, like the Centipede cabinet here. You got the Pac-Man, as opposed to the main cabinet here. I got a 32-inch screen, and basically, if I were to play, let's say, a game like Galaga, I would have these big black borders on both sides, and you're barely maybe using like 50% of the screen, you know, so that whole 32-inch screen does not matter. And, you know, vice versa. And then also, let's say you play a different game on here, you would have to get some kind of bezel. I mean, you could put the bezels in there on the videos to clear the black things. That's another addition you would have to do. The other thing is, if you look at the screen here, you could see the TV monitor on here, you know, on this, which is pretty crappy, because anybody that comes up to this, they see it's like a box basically with a TV. On here, you don't notice that. It's built in there, you know, and that's that right there was a key selling point to me on here in getting this. It just, I mean, you see it's right there. It's a TV monitor on here in a box. So you would have to put some kind of bezel on here. And then plus the other games, if you have a bezel on top of a bezel, it's just, it's not a nice sight, man. It's not something clean, nice like here, which is perfect. So that was one of the key components why I got the Arcade1Up machine. The other thing is looking at the controls. Now, obviously, this one here, it's like a $300 or $350 control joystick here. Pretty much more than just this one cabinet alone. But so obviously the controls, the joystick, the buttons are great. I mean, the quality on there, it's going to last you for a while. Yes, so there might be a time when you might have to change some of the buttons, or like a spring might come out. So you go in there. It's not a problem. It's not a big issue or anything. It's easily fixed. These, yes, they're not the same quality as that. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, it's a bit less on that, but they get the controls right. You know what I mean? You got your Centipede games. You got, your trackball there. You got your spinner games here, you know. You got the one button game here, Galaga. When you put it on here, you can't change for each game. You know, each game is different. Each game uses different controls. Each game uses different components there, where here you can't change that. Whatever control you have, that's what you got to use. Fortunately for me, I have a trackball here, so I could use some of the trackball games. But then the problem you'll run into is, let's say you're playing like a game like Centipede. Let's say the person that's loaded up the game doesn't know that Centipede actually uses a trackball. They'll be using the joystick as opposed to the trackball. You know, even though you even have the trackball. Or if you don't have the trackball there, your only option is to use the joystick. You know, the other thing is you'd have to also configure it to play the trackball sometimes. Some of them don't come automatically or understand the trackball, or, you know, or configure that way. You have to set that up, you know, and that's for each game that runs a trackball game, you know. Obviously, I can't play any spinner games here unless I get a spinner. I'll have to attach it or get a joystick here that has that option, or like a 4-player, 3-player Rampage, or if you don't want to use the bat sticks, you want to use bowl top instead. So, you know, and just figure out the buttons. You know, when you're playing a game on here, you know, what button does what, you know. Here it's a no-brainer. I mean, a freaking retarded monkey could figure this thing out. I mean, my 5-year-old could come in here, turn this thing on, and play the game. It's that simple, and I think just that simplicity on there alone is a key selling point. You know, it makes these much more playable, much better, you know, as opposed to a machine running like 5,000 games, you know. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, arcade machines technically only had one game, you know, so that's how the arcades were, you know. So when you you take a machine like this and you put like all these list of games, it ruins it. It becomes overwhelming. You know, people don't know what to pick. You know, you got all these menus and stuff. Yes, I know you could add in the wheel, the snapshots and all that, make it easier, or lower the number of games, but it's different, man. I mean, you don't know what button to press, you know, pick a game or navigate the menus. I mean, you add in there, you might add in like Super Nintendo games, you know, and now it's not just an arcade machines, like everything. And that makes it even tougher for somebody to come in to choose what game they want to play, you know, and it's a no-brainer. You sit down, the most you're gonna have to go through is a list of 4 games. So you're gonna be playing either Asteroids, Tempest, or something. Here, Galaga, Pac-Man, and it's, you know, and that's what you're gonna play. The other thing is, let's say somebody, you have like couple people over on here. Somebody wants to play, let's say, Pac-Man or Donkey Kong or Popeye, you know, a single-player game on here. That person is the only one that's playing on here. Where here, I could have somebody playing Centipede, another person could be playing Galaga, Asteroids, all at the same time. You got 4 machines as opposed to just the one, you know. I mean, I look at, I mean, the list of games. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys also, let's say, got one of these, NES Classic Edition, you know, when these things came out. And, you know, it had 30 games on here and stuff. People would argue and they would say, oh, why not just get the Raspberry Pi? You could have all the systems, all the games on here, not just the 30, not just the NES, and you're paying a lot less. But, and that's how I see this Mame cabinet is. I would go for the NES Classic, you know. I would go for these Arcade1Up machines. Just the artwork, the graphics alone, you know, the system here, how it looks, as opposed to this, because look, you could get the Raspberry Pi, or, you know, these things could even be modded. So you could put the whole NES collection on here. You could even go ahead of that. You could play Super Nintendo, Genesis games on this, on the NES Classic. But what that does is now you're using a NES system. Just out here, you're using an arcade here, and you're playing other games. You're playing Genesis game on an NES, you know. So it's, and then the list of games. Let's say you put the whole entire NES library on here, right? I mean, how many of those games are you really going to be playing? How many of those games are you probably not even going to see, or are even not worth playing? But you got them on there, so now when you go through the list of games, you have to go through all those. You know, you're creating folders. Now you have to go through folder options, all this, as opposed to one screen, you know, that has just the 30 games, you know. I mean, I would mod it just to put, you know, maybe change some of the games, but that's about it, you know. So I see a lot of videos also, people trying to mod these, put a Raspberry Pi on here, but that if you're doing that, I don't think it's worth it, just because you're pretty much making it into what this is. And when you do that, you know, let's say you take a Street Fighter cabinet and you do that, pretty much you're taking that Street Fighter away from that cabinet, and I guarantee you, you're barely or rarely even going to play Street Fighter on that cabinet anymore. Whereas here, this is what it is, you know what I mean? I'll get additional cabinets on here to add on, and I think it's a lot better option than this big machine goes. So, you know, I mean, those are my thoughts, those are my opinions. I mean, like I said, I've had this for a couple years now. You know, some guy commented also, why not get the Alphacade or whatever. Well, I got this like 4 or 5 years ago. Those were not around. I think those just came out like maybe a couple months ago. So if that was available, hell yeah, I would have got that. If these were available 4 or 5 years ago, this is what I would have got, you know. So, but it wasn't, you know. So, and closing things out here, I just want to close things out here. If you're interested in a Mame cabinet, like I said, I'm selling this one. If you're interested, just the joystick. Like I said, I also have the X Arcade there. I have another extension controller here. This one's also compatible with like Xbox, PlayStation. The bolt tops here, 8-way control. These are the concave buttons, has the trackball. If you just want the joysticks alone, or if you're looking to get the whole cabinet, I mean, like I said, I would sell it for half the price of these. And if you're able to pick this up, or you're in the New Jersey, New York area, you want the whole cabinet, I'll even give it to you for 70% less than what I paid, or that equivalent to one of these arcade machines, you know. So, because I'm telling you, I mean, if the main cabinet on here, it's cool at first, but it's just, as far as me, as far as entertaining your guests, as far as people using these machines, you want to go with something that's more simple. You know, something that's easy to just sit down, play, pick the game you want, turn the machine on and off, know what buttons you're using on here. This becomes a lot more complex on that, you know. People will be touching any buttons on here, then they'll access the menu screen, or when the game loads up, on that run command, you go into the options, or you go into RetroArch menus, or the Mame menus. Now you got to exit out from there. You got to have your keyboard plugged in. So, and just because simply somebody just pressed the wrong button, or a combination of buttons on here. So, where here, you don't got to worry about that. There is no menu. There's no accessing any of the options or anything. None of that. Pretty much playing the game, that's it, you know, on off switch, and that's about it. So you don't run to those type of issues with this. Like, I could leave, I could go outside, I could have people here, and I don't have to monitor, observe, or like, you know, oh, you hit the wrong button, let me fix this up, let me get this game working, or let me get you out from this game. You know what I mean? It's simple, it's easy. One button gets you to the menus, another one picks the game, you know. Or here, people really don't know, you know. I know, me personally, I mean, I know what works what, how to do what, but I suppose somebody would just come and sit down and play this. They wouldn't, you know. They wouldn't unless you own one here and you know exactly everything's configured for you and all that, you know. You'll get lost on this, you know. And the big list of games even makes it worse. So that's my opinion on here. Let me know what you guys think. It's another Arcade1Up video here. Next time I do this, I'll probably do a lot more gameplay footage on here of these, you know. And if I get any new ones, I'll let you guys know. I'll give you guys opinions, what I think on those. That does it here. Mr. Hollywood, signing out, fellas.